Why women in business can't think and grow rich without doing this one thing first. Today, we're going to be talking about what's holding you back from creating the wealth and the time freedom that you absolutely desire. Today, we're going to talk about the myths behind thinking and growing rich. Well, my name is Karin Angelly. I'm one of the co-founders here inside of Truth Bomb Marketing. We help busy women create more time and money freedom with a simple business playbook so that they can create their millions without sacrificing what's important to them. If that sounds interesting to you and you want to know how to start thinking your way and growing rich, then you're probably going to want to like this video and tap the subscribe button. And for a totally added benefit, you're probably going to want to check out the Truth Bomb Academy. If you want to check us out for 14 days for free, where we're going to be talking a lot about the things that I'm talking about today, where you think and grow rich and having a business plan, having a business strategy, having those finances, you're going to want to check out the Truth Bomb Academy. There's actually a link below this video. All right, so without any further ado, let's talk about why you are struggling to think and grow rich. This is one of the most influential books, honestly, right? Napoleon Hill wrote Think and Grow Rich years ago, and it's one of the most influential business books. But I'm here to tell you that there's a lot of steps that are actually missing inside that book. The most overlooked thing about thinking and growing rich is that a lot of us have a lot of subconscious patterns, belief patterns that are stuck in our head that are buried for years and years and years. And those subconscious patterns take place in our minds as well as in our body. And as a result of those pesky subconscious belief patterns, we stay stuck doing the same thing over and over without even sometimes realizing that we're doing the same thing over and over again. But today, I'm hopefully going to help you break that loop once and for all and actually figure out how to start thinking and growing rich and actually manifesting the life that you absolutely love. So as I mentioned, a lot of us have a lot of subconscious belief patterns that are stuck deep in our mind. They create this believing, thinking, and feeling loop that we get stuck in that continues to create the reality that we find ourselves in. As an example, let's talk about a feeling emotion like anxiety, okay? Anxiety plagues a lot of women in business. When you're growing your business, you may find yourself in this place. I know I did for years and years until I started doing what I'm about to share with you today. So with anxiety, a lot of times there's something that happens. Maybe we can't pay a bill in our business. Maybe our website goes down. Maybe something doesn't go the way we anticipate it to go. And suddenly we find ourselves stressing or a little anxious over that thing that's not quite going our way. What happens with our body is our heart rate increases, respiratory rate increases, blood pressure increases. Our body is flooded by this whole emotional array, all these chemicals coming in, telling us that we are anxious, literally showing us, hey, I'm anxious. What happens is over time of continually bathing our body in these stress chemicals and continually allowing ourselves to think in anxious ways, have those anxious thoughts and continue down those anxious thought patterns, what ends up happening is our body is continually flooded with all of these stress hormones. Your body is so good at listening to what your brain tells it to do that after a while of being in this believing, thinking, feeling loop, what's going to happen is now your body is going to take over and say, oh, you've told me to be anxious for this many days in a row. And I haven't felt anxious today. It's been a while since I've felt anxious. Maybe I should start sending out hormones to say that we're anxious. This is where things like anxiety attacks come from. I don't know if you've ever witnessed somebody have an anxiety attack or you yourself have had an anxiety attack. It's a little scary because there's not necessarily anything that happens that creates the anxiety. You're suddenly just flooded with crippling levels of stress hormones that can literally send you sometimes to the hospital on your back, having an emotional breakdown, some sort of anxious attack. Your body is literally just going, oh, you've told me to feel this way for so long. I'm now just going to start feeling this way on my own. It does a really good job of listening like that. This is one of the biggest reasons that you can't simply think and grow rich. Because if you're in a stressful state, you're allowing yourself to stay in that stressful state, and you're standing in front of the mirror and going, I am wealthy, I am wealthy. Your body doesn't believe it. Your subconscious mind doesn't believe it. So unfortunately, babe, you can stand there and say affirmations in the mirror all day long, but your brain and your body don't actually believe them because you have been bathing yourself in those stress hormones for so long. So what's the secret then? How do you create change when you find yourself in this kind of state? Well, the first thing you have to do is break the cycle. And in order to break the cycle, you have to notice when it's happening. This is the most important step of actually breaking any kind of unhealthy pattern in your life, actually noticing when it first shows up. Now comes the difficult part. Well, actually, no, because noticing can be quite difficult too. But now you actually have to break that pattern. So a lot of times when I first started feeling those anxious feelings that I would have and going, oh no, I'm having that anxious thought, having that anxious feeling, I had to notice it first. Then I had to actually start doing behaviors that could help curb that feeling. So the first thing I would always do is I would tell myself, stop, wait a second, I don't have to feel this way. Now, a lot of times because our subconscious brain and our body have been in that stressful state for so long, we probably need to do some things to help snap ourselves out. So a lot of times for myself, when I found myself in an anxious, frustrated, overwhelmed place, I would have to go and I would have to meditate. I was breaking the pattern. I was stopping myself from feeling that anxiety, that overwhelm, and allowing myself to let things go. I also did things like practicing mindfulness, feeling the table around me, feeling my face, looking outside at the beautiful weather, doing breathing exercises. One of the things that we forget is that our breath is one of the best ways to actually get connected back to ourselves and get out of those anxious, stressful places. Now, here's the most important step of the whole process. You have got to do this over and over and over again. Think about, you created the pattern of living in anxiety, living in a stressful state. Now you actually need to start creating a pattern of feeling good, of loving your business, of loving yourself. It takes some time, just like it took time for you to create that anxious state. Now you actually have to focus on doing these things over and over again to help aid your body in feeling better over time. It's just really about creating those patterns that can actually help set you up and help you feel better for the long run in your business. Then what will happen is your body is starting to feel good, and now your subconscious mind is believing that you are capable of doing anything you wish in your life and in your business. So now when you stand in front of the mirror and you tell yourself, I am wealthy, you start to believe it. You've broken that believing, thinking, feeling loop, and now you're able to actually start changing your reality. So listen, friend, if you thought this was interesting, what you're going to hear inside of the Truth Bomb Academy is going to be exponentially more than what I just shared with you today. Inside Truth Bomb Academy, we're consistently sharing many different techniques like what I shared in this video, as well as other techniques to help you actually create a business plan and a business that you absolutely love. So if you're ready to have a business plan that absolutely works, as well as techniques to help you aid yourself getting out of these believing, thinking, feeling loops so that you can actually start thinking and growing rich and creating more time and money in your life, then you're going to want to check out the link in the description where you can join Truth Bomb Academy today for 14 days for totally free. It's a total steal, so I better see you inside the community. Can't wait to connect with you.